Greetings to anyone watching this. We'll be talking about why we should farm insects instead of animals, done by me, Erwina, Aloysius, Raymond, and Benjamin. To start off, here is our table of contents. Firstly, we'll be talking about the unsustainability of livestock, the nutritional benefits of eating insects, the other benefits of eating insects, how to overcome the anxiety, and of course, the conclusion. My name is Erwina, and I'll be starting off with the unsustainability of livestock. Stating the obvious, these animals take up way too much space. According to Hannah Ritchie on Our World Data, they take around 80% of the world's agricultural land. This is around 40 million kilometers squared of land. And how many calories do they actually produce with this? Well, only 20% of the world's global calorie supply. With the ever-growing number of humans in the world, demand will only skyrocket. It is said that in 2050, there will be a 60% increase in food production. This not only means more greenhouse emissions, but more global emissions in general. Here is a graph to illustrate the increase in demand, and this information was given to us by MIT Tech Review. I'm assuming that everyone here has tasted meat before or enjoy the taste of meat and plan on taking it, well, forever. And with this, I'd like to talk about what happens before it meets your plate. I hope the videos that will be shown will just teach you how bad animal cruelty really is in these livestock farms. Of course, there are dire environmental impacts to farming animals, such as the creation of dead zones, which is where aquatic life cannot live because of the low oxygen supply. Why does this occur? Well, animal waste and fertilizers from these farms are dumped into the ocean, which causes eutrophication to take place, which is where there's an increased growth of algae, plankton, which causes more dead algae to be present, which causes bacteria to form, which increases oxygen usage and doesn't leave enough of it for all the aquatic animals to live, causing them to, well, die, as images show. A sad example of this is the Gulf of Mexico, where in this diagram you see an alarmingly low amount of oxygen supply left. Now, how is this done? Well, the Mississippi River carries all the waste and fertilizer to the Gulf of Mexico, not only killing fishes, but just decreasing the amount of shrimps and fishes left in the body of water. Now, what are the effects? Firstly, we have the creation of harmful algae, which are toxic to humans and animals alike, water contamination, and of course illnesses to animals and humans, such as vomiting, diarrhea, nausea, and etc. Thank you so much. These are my sources, and I'll pass on to Kai.
Hi, my name is Raymond, and today I'll be talking a bit about the nutritional benefits of insects. Insects have a high nutritional content containing real animal proteins, beneficial fats, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and prebiotic fibers. And according to a group of researchers in Teramo, Italy, insects have technically 5 times more antioxidant capacity compared to orange juice. And these antioxidants help us protect ourselves from free radicals, which can reduce the risk of heart disease and cancer. The insect's feed contains items such as cornstarch, fiber-rich cowpea leaves, protein-rich soy extracts, and vitamin-enriched carrot powder. And all of these are only take up 10% of the food, water, and land that normal livestock uses. And here is a graph that shows that why cricket is believed to be better than beef. This graph here shows 100 grams of crickets compared to 100 grams of beef. The macronutrients contents of crickets and beef are almost the same, but with crickets coming out on top with 2 to 3 times greater protein content. And on the graph here, we can see the 8 essential amino acids that we as humans need in our bodies. The cricket, 100 grams of cricket provide more amino acids compared to 100 grams of ground beef. And these amino acids are required so that it can help us break down food, grow and repair our body tissues, provide structure to our body, and also maintain a proper pH in our body. And in this graph of micronutrients, we can see that crickets provide more omega-3, omega-6 and fiber compared to ground beef. Fiber is essential for our body because fiber helps us in intestinal transit, which means in some cases that when people have constipation, fiber actually helps in our bowel movement to help us get feces out of our body more smoothly. And some certain types of fibers even help us lose weight. For omega-3 and 6, it is necessary in our diet because it is necessary for proper functioning of our cells. The slides here are all retrieved from NAAK. Here are all my sources and passing on to Benjamin.
My name is Benjamin, and I'll be presenting the other benefits of consuming insects. One of the many benefits is the reduction of weight in the body. Now, Jason Brink from 2014 consumed 100 grams of cricket, only with 121 calories. Meanwhile, an equal amount of peanuts had 167 calories. Having changed from an insect-based diet, that allowed him to reduce the amount of fat in his body. Now look at him before he started eating insects. Now take a look after. See how much weight he lost? Next, I'll be talking about the texture and size differences. As you know, even well cooked, beef has a very chewy texture. Meanwhile, insects when fried have a crunchy texture. The reasoning for this can be explained by Charles Spence, PhD, who says that people prefer crunchier foods as they are associated with freshness. Thus, the crunchiness of insects should be much more preferable compared to meat. Furthermore, insects can also be grinded into powder and used in snacks. Examples: chips, cookies, and granola bars. Where have you ever seen meat done that? Thus, it becomes easier to integrate insects into our daily consumption. The next 2 points are courtesy of the conversation by Matan Shalomi. The first one being pricing. Now, insects, as you know, are very plentiful. You can see them almost everywhere. Your lawn, your pantry, the school when that classmate of yours forgets to pack their lunch properly. As a result, they're also affordable to rural households who may be unable to pay for meat. The second point is that they're also cruelty-free. But Benjamin, you ask, why are insects cruelty-free? Well, you see, the factory farms where meat such as cows are normally processed are cramped and hot, unsuitable environments for these animals. However, such environments are ideal for insects, who thrive when grouped together as a result. For my next point, I'll be talking about how consuming insects can prevent overpopulation. As you know, there are certain species that are not native to their population or the area they are in. As a result of such non-nativity, these animals can consume natural resources from the area, depriving food for creatures that are living in the area. These species are commonly known as invasive species, and insects are no exception to this. Examples include the red imported fire ant that was introduced to the USA from Brazil. These ants are commonly ferocious and more aggressive. As such, consuming insects can prevent such species from depleting the resources of the area, as well as provide more food supplies to animals of this area. Furthermore, the consumption of insects can induce a cultural boost. Yes, the capital is intentional. According to research done by a Belgian university, men are twice as likely to consume insects. At the same time, the same university also discovered that a growing acceptance in Western cultures to consume insects can allow for other communities and cultures to do the same. Unfortunately, the same can be applied for vice versa, in which Western cultures refuse to consume insects, resulting in a depletion of insect-based culture. So keep eating. Finally, consuming insects can also increase your muscles. And yes, the capital spelling is still intentional. It's called muscle bulls for a reason. Edible insects contain more protein, 60% compared to chicken and beef, 54%. At the same time, the digestibility rate of protein in insects range of 54 to 98%, the same level as beef, 98% too. Thank you for listening to my points. Now, these are my resources, and I would like to pass the presentation to Aloysius.
Greetings to Miss Suji and anyone who's watching this. My name is Aloysius, and today I'm gonna be talking about how to overcome your anxiety of eating bugs. So, have insects ever been consumed by other civilizations before us? Well, according to Van Hui 2013, the Bible often makes reference to religious figures like John the Baptist surviving on a diet of grains and locusts. And in ancient civilizations like the Egyptian civilizations who built the pyramids, they would often consume crickets for dinner as well, as a main course. This begs a question. If we as normal humans, normal modern humans, cannot eat insects without feeling disgusted, then why could the ancient humans often consume insects without much shame? So the Costa in 2013 points out that in primarily urbanized areas of the world, people tend to be averse to eating insects, which means they avoid eating insects like the plague. They think it's disgusting vermin and they won't put it anywhere near their mouths. However, in parts of rural Thailand, people tend to eat insects, for instance, the Leptocerus water bug, which is also known as a toad biter and it's venomous, like it's popcorn. As you can see, here's a picture of a plate of grilled water bugs. They look delicious, delectable, crunchy, and above all, appetizing. So please, anyone who's watching this, please go to Thailand and support your local Thai businesses today. According to Conway 1993, cultures, for example, the indigenous Australians, have been eating Camponotus species of carpenter ants, which are species of ants that store honey in their abdomen and are actually quite a good source of nutrition for the indigenous Australians. Again, this goes to show that as long as we have been on this planet, we have been eating bugs shamelessly and still replicated in one of our archaic cultures. So as mentioned, one of the ways to combat anxiety is by exposure therapy. So what is exposure therapy? In this case, it would be conditioning a patient, or at least in this case an individual, to not fear or not avoid the thing they hate the most. In this case, for an insect-averse person, it would be that they would have to be exposed to the process of grilling them, cooking them, and then serving them on a plate to people. This, hypothetically, would make the person less afraid of insects. I mean, if one sees insects being prepared all the time, then obviously they'll become numb to it and feel less fear when preparing it. So, on the topic of quality control, insect farms are actually quite safe from diseases. Specifically for cricket farming, there are no known diseases that are transmittable between farm crickets and humans. This makes them quite clean and quite healthy for us. On the topic of educating oneself, if a person looks at the comparison between the protein content of a cricket and the protein content of a slice of beef, they will see that crickets in terms of nutrition are superior to beef and other poultry meats. Will make a person, in theory, start to desire eating crickets. And this might actually help them be less fearful of eating bugs in general. Thank you for listening to my portion of the presentation. Now I'll pass it to Erwina to do the conclusion.
To conclude, insects are eco-friendly, high in nutrients, affordable, clean of disease and animal cruelty, tasty in flavor and texture. What is stopping you from eating insects? The judgment of others? Well, to hide this, you could get insect-flavored chips, which kind of make them invisible, honestly. And what matters is that you try at least one insect. It doesn't matter if it's a cricket, a piece of a larvae, an ant. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you have the opportunity, the want to not only improve the earth but your health, to start intaking insects instead of gruesomely beaten up and killed meat poultry on your plate. And instead of that, a small piece of insect, which has not only more protein, but fiber and other nutritional benefits. Put that in your mouth. Swap out your diet. No one is stopping you. Thank you so much for watching the complete video. We'll just end it off with a quote from Gautama Buddha.